So before we move on to circles day 2, one thing I want to review that's important for this lesson is this concept of completing the square. There's a couple of things we got to know when we complete the square, especially in these problems. One is, if I have something like 3 equals 3, if I add 2 to this side, does this remain equal? No. So what do I have to do to the other side? I have to add 2. So that's one thing as we move along you'll have to understand. Is if I add something to one side, I have to do the same thing to the other side. Second is if I give you the equation or the expression x squared plus 6x plus 9. If you remember, right, we factored these type of problems. What multiplies to give us 9, 3 and 3, and adds up to 6, 3 plus 3. So what this is called a perfect square trinomial, meaning you can rewrite this as a binomial squared, right? And if I take another one, so say I take x squared minus 8x plus 16. What you'll notice is to get this last term, if I take half of 8 and square it, that would give me this 16. And what is half of the 8? Negative 4. And we use that to rewrite this as a binomial squared. So when we go to complete the square, what we're trying to do is force that perfect square. So if I gave you x squared plus 10x, what would I have to add here so that I can make this some binomial square? Well, to make that happen, all I'm going to do is take that 10 divided by 2 and square it. That'll give me, not 100, that'll give me 25. And now think about it. What multiplies to give you 25 and adds up to 10? 5 and 5. So this is x plus 5 all squared. We're going to use this concept in order to write the equation of circles in standard form. If you look at example 1 here, this equation is not written in this standard form. Okay, so how do we do this? Well, we're going to kind of talk about it through an example. So the first thing we want to do when we go to rewrite this in standard form is group all the x's together and all the y's. So we're going to do x squared, then we're going to say minus 4x. And we know we're going to complete the square here, so we're going to add something right away. Then I'm going to do plus y squared plus 6y. I know I'm going to complete the square here, and I'm going to have to add something. Now this plus 4, what I'm going to do is bring it over here right away. What do I have to do to get rid of it? I'm going to subtract the 4. And that would give me equals negative 4. From here, I'm going to go ahead and complete the square. So if I take that negative 4 divided by 2 and square it, that's going to give me negative 2 squared, which is what? 4. If I add 4 to this side, I have to go to the other side and add 4. What I do to one side, I have to do to the other. Now the next one, to fill in this, to make it a perfect square, I'm going to take half of 6 and square it. That'll give me 9. So if I add 9 here, I'm going to go to the other side and add 9. Now what you have to understand, this is a perfect square trinomial. This is a perfect square trinomial. And we're going to rewrite those right now. So whatever you get when you take half of b, that's what goes inside. So it's going to be x minus 2 all squared plus y plus 3 all squared. Remember, what's 6 divided by 2? 3 equals negative 4 plus 4 is 0, plus 9 is 9. And this is the equation, right, in standard form. And right away, we can find the center, which would be at 2, negative 3. And if the radius squared is 9, the radius is 3. All right, for the next example, what I want you to do is change this negative 11 to positive 11 for me. Okay, So now when I go to group terms here, it's a little more difficult because of the algebra, because it has fractions in it. So I'm going to group the x's, so x squared plus 7x, but I know I'm going to have to complete the square, so I'm going to have to add something. Plus y squared plus y, I'm going to have to make that a perfect square, so I'm going to have to add something, equals 11. Well, right here, what do I have to add here? Well, I take half of that 7 and I square it. I want you guys to keep this in a fraction form. 7 to the second is 49, over 2 to the second is 4. If I add 49 over 4 here, I'm going to go ahead and add it over here. Well, now, y squared plus y plus, I'm going to take half of 1 and square it, and that would give me 1/4. 1 to the second is 1, 2 to the second is 4. So I'm going to go ahead and add the 1/4 here. So right away here, when I go to complete the square here, remember, that's just going to be, I'm just going to use this term here. So it's going to be x plus 7/2 all squared plus, this is going to be y plus 1/2 all squared equals, when I add these together, right, 11 plus 49 over 4 plus 1/4. So when you add these together, 11 plus 49 over 4 plus 1 over 4, what you're going to get is you're going to get 47 over 2 after you reduce. So right away, the center here would be at -7/2, comma, -1/2, and my radius would be the square root of 47 over 2. So do me a favor, try example 3 on your own and come back and check your answer. So right away here, if I group the terms together, x squared minus 8x, I know I'm going to have to complete the square, so I'm going to add something. Then plus y squared plus 10y, again, I'm going to have to complete the square, equals 0. So right here, if I take half of -8 and square it, it's going to give me -4 squared, which is 16. I'm going to add the 16 to the other side right away. Then, next I'm going to take half of 10 and square it. It's going to give me 5 squared, which is 25. So I'm going to add the 25 over here. So now, right away, when I complete the square here, right, x minus 4 all squared plus y plus 5 all squared equals 16 plus 25 is 41. What I want you guys to notice is when I take half of b and square it, right, that's how I get this number. Half of b is right here. Okay, so now once I have this, my center is at the opposite of -4 is 4, the opposite of 5 is -5, and the radius would be the square root of 41. And we are done. Okay. Again, take the time to try the next one on your own real quick, our next two, and come back and check your answer. So if we reorganize all of the algebra, we get x squared plus 18x. We're going to add 81 to complete the square, plus y squared plus 30y. Half of 30 is 15. 15 squared, we're going to add 225. Remember, what I add to this side, I add to this side. When we complete the square here, right, x plus 18, x squared plus 18x plus 81 gives you this. Y plus 15 squared is equivalent to this, equals, when you add those together, 12. So this is your standard form of the equation. Here's your center, here's your radius. Okay, the next one's no different, right? To complete the square here, I'm going to add 25 over 4 To complete the square here, I'm going to add 64. 0 plus 25 over 4 plus 64 gives me 281 over 4. So now my center would be at 5/2, -8. And my radius would be root 281 over 4. But I'm actually going to simplify that to the square root of 281 over the square root of 4 is 2. Okay, and we are done. Do me a favor, turn to the homework and complete that assignment. Thank you.